Are you confused about seating charts? To be honest, most of us are. Why don't you keep watching this video and learn more about seating charts, when you need to use place cards, when you need to put numbers on the table, all that fun stuff. Hey everyone, it's your favorite wedding planner Bree here, and today we are going to talk about seating charts. So a lot of people get very stressed out by seating charts. There's a lot of family dynamics, friend dynamics that go into a seating chart. And a lot of people are also confused just about when to use certain aspects of seating charts, when to put place cards on the tables, when to put table numbers on the tables. Oh, maybe they don't want to put table numbers on the table because it'll make people feel bad if they're at the last table, etc. So today we're going to talk more about that, kind of get to learn more about different things you can do and reasons why it's actually shouldn't be super stressful. First things first, why use a seating chart? So I always recommend using some sort of seating chart because otherwise it can just be crazy. Basically, a seating chart is to help control where your guests will sit. The reason I do recommend it is because if you just let people sit wherever they want, oftentimes they kind of do some weird things. So either they will sit at a certain table and not leave enough room for another two people to sit there because they've already made their gaps at the table, etc. Or you don't have family sitting together, or people take the family tables, or there's all kinds of crazy stuff that could happen. And that's why, first of all, I always recommend using some sort of seating chart. Now let's also get into the types of seating charts. So really there are two types of seating charts that I see often. They're used for different reasons generally. One is a table chart versus place cards. So there are some similarities between the two of them, but there also are some differences. So with a table chart, basically what's going to happen is when your guests walk in, there should be a chart at the front saying you are at table 7. When they get to table 7, first of all, there should be a number on that table saying that it's table 7. Otherwise, how are they supposed to know? But also it should not have anything on the tables, basically like no place cards. It shouldn't say you have to sit at this exact seat. It's basically you can sit anywhere at table 7, but you are at table 7. Now the difference with place cards is you still do a few of those same steps. You still have a list at the front saying, hey, you're at table 7. You still have something on the table saying it's table 7, because otherwise how are they supposed to know? And then you also are going to have place cards at each seat. So instead of people being able to sit at whatever table they want at table 7, there's a place card saying you need to sit at this spot. The reason oftentimes that people do this is for meals. So if you're doing a plated meal, the caterer or venue caterer is going to have to know where these people are sitting and what type of entree option they got, what type of meal they got. So a lot of times with place cards, they will say their name, yes, but they will also have some sort of symbol or some sort of color coordination thing that pretty much goes with the entree options. So it might be like yellow. If your name's in yellow, that means you got chicken. If your name's in blue, that means maybe you got fish. If your name's in red, maybe that means you got steak. Another thing you could do is you could put little symbols on each. So like a diamond ring, birds, and flowers. I mean, there's so many different ways you can do that, but basically a lot of the reason people do place cards is so that they know where certain people are sitting, especially for their meal. Some people also want to do it because they want people to sit right by other people. They don't want them to have the option at the table either. That's totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. One thing that I will mention is there are some people who don't like the notion of table numbers. Another way that you can name tables is just by coming up with a theme and naming them. It could be cities around the world. Okay, you're at the Paris table. Oh, you're at the San Diego table. You're at the San Francisco table. It could be flowers. Oh, you're at the daisy table. Oh, you're at the rose table. It could be literally anything. It could be sentence. It could be whatever you want. It could be Disneyland characters. I mean, you will have to obviously pick that theme and hopefully it will kind of go with your wedding. Otherwise that's random a little bit. But if you don't like the idea of somebody being like, well, I'm at table 15, that's the last table, obviously I don't matter. That's really not the case. Obviously you invited them to the wedding for a reason. However, family and things like that need to be closer to you. But like I said, if you want those people to feel like, oh, okay, cool, and not really think about the fact that they're at table 15, then you can always name them something else. A lot of the reason that people do seating charts in general and why it becomes so simple is family and friends, right? You're trying to make everyone happy when really it's your day and it shouldn't really matter as long as your family and your bridal party, your wedding party is right up next to you. The rest of the people, you just kind of got to stagger throughout and seat them with other people who you think that they would want to be seated with. Family, obviously you should have a few family tables at the front, your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, like they should be right next to you. And that's another reason why a lot of people do table charts too, is they don't want a free-for-all where people are taking the family seats or taking, most people know, but there's always those few people who don't and end up taking those spots and realistically shouldn't. But basically a seating chart is a way to make sure that that is avoided altogether. One thing I will mention with the place cards is that your caterer is also going to need a copy of your seating chart so that they are not having to search around for people. They just have a copy saying, oh, Brianne Duncan is going to be sitting at table 7 at seat number 2. And then basically they're not having to search around table number 7. They just should know exactly where they're going with that entree. It's just easier for the caterer and for quickness and ease of service. That's really all that I have on seating charts. I know that it makes people super stressed out, but realistically, it's pretty simple. The reason it makes people so stressed out is the family and friend dynamics, which I get, especially when you have divorced parents or friends who aren't getting along right now, blah, 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 right? There's a lot of different scenarios that make people stressed out about it, but really, it's a pretty easy process. So if you have any other questions on seating charts, feel free to leave comments below. And I hope to see you next week for our next weekly wedding planning session with me, Wedding Planner Bree. Have a great day.